This is verse 10 of the book of Jude. The author here is contrasting the reserve that is described in connection with Michael in verse 9, who was not prepared to say that he would rebuke directly, but the Lord rebuke you. The contrast to it now goes back to the descriptions that we saw in the earlier verses of these who are false teachers, who Jude is indicating have slipped in under shadow of darkness, you might say, into the fellowship, but of course they're up to no good, and he's now becoming more poignant in his description of it. So we have hutoi, referring to these false teachers, the demonstrative pronoun in the nominative masculine plural, so these or these men, postpositive de, so but these men, hosoi. This is a conjunction. It means as many as or as much as. It's rather sweeping in its scope. So these men, but as many as, and then men is going to stand along with de over here. And so we render it roughly in English, on the one hand, on the other, setting up a contrast. So we have these men, as many as, on the one hand, uk, the negation with oidasin, third person plural, perfect, active indicative of edo, I see or I know. These men as many as things they do not know, blasphemusin, from blasphemao to slander to blaspheme, that idea. So they speak abusively, they speak slanderously, blasphemously, with as many things as they do not know. When it comes to things that are really a higher level of knowledge, things they should know, they're ignorant of them and they slander with reference to them. So that's the first half of the contrast. And then hosa, same thing here. Again, we have as many as or as much as, the contrasting de. So on the other hand, and then physikos, this is an indeclinable adverb. It means nature or according to nature. Usually a reference to sort of the natural order of things without necessarily any display of rationality, just more instinct, you might say, as many things as by nature. And then hos, which again is a particle that means as or about. So as many things as according to nature about. And then ta, this is a neuter article. It's in the nominative plural, neuter. So the, and then aloga. This is from logos, really, which is the word for word, but also refers to reason. But notice the at the beginning negates that. So this is unreason or irrationality is the idea. It's usually translated something like brute with respect to beasts. The beasts are not understood as acting according to reason. They act more according to instinct, and so that's the sense here. The word zoa means a beast or a creature, an animal, is the idea. So these as many as by nature, according to brute beasts, or something like brute beasts, epistantai, meaning knowledge, but of a different kind. This would be sort of a higher idea of knowledge, to see something, to understand it. This is actually based on the word histemi, which means to stand. Idiomatically, it has to do with simply standing in the sense of an immediate kind of experience of it, but no real understanding of it. And so kind of picturing a beast who might have some sort of immediate sense of something, but no real insight into its true character. So these, as many as by nature, as brute beasts, understand something, even to the limited extent they may, then in, preposition with the dative, in tutois, in these, and it's referring to in these things that they might understand. Pheruntai, this is from phero, means to corrupt something. You'll notice this is in the passive here. It's present passive indicative. They are corrupted in it. So they may have some limited sort of natural understanding of something. They may try to use it to their advantage in this sort of attempt to come off as teachers, and yet the very act of doing so becomes the means of their own destruction.